Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. Imagine taking a peaceful walk with your loyal companion, soaking in the beauty of nature, only to have your world turned upside down by a twist you never saw coming. What started as a simple stroll by the lake became an extraordinary tale of courage, discovery, and unexpected danger. Stay with me as we unravel a story that proves heroes come in all shapes and sizes, sometimes even with four legs. Mark was a devoted dog owner who enjoyed taking his German Shepherd Kyla for walks. On a particularly sunny afternoon, he decided to head to the nearby lake for their regular stroll. The weather was perfect, and it seemed like a typical day. Little did he know this walk would change his life forever. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming stories. As they approached the lake, Kyla, usually calm and obedient, began acting strangely. She had her head down, sniffing frantically, as if she were on a mission. Mark found her behavior odd, especially since she had never shown such intensity during their walks. He tried to rein her in, but Kyla was persistent, tugging on the leash with surprising strength. The more they walked, the more excited and determined she became, pulling Mark off the path toward the water. It was when they neared the edge of the lake that things took a dramatic turn. Without warning, Kyla bolted towards the water, dragging Mark along with her. The sudden movement caught him off guard, and before he could react, he found himself being pulled into the icy depths of the lake. Mark struggled to keep his head above water, gasping for air as the coldness seeped through his clothes. The water was deeper than he expected, and Kyla's unexpected strength made it nearly impossible for him to gain control. Panic set in as he realized he was being pulled down. In those desperate moments, Mark's mind was a whirlwind of fear and confusion. He frantically tried to untie the leash from around his wrist, but the tight knot made it difficult. Kyla's continuous pulling only made things worse. With his lungs burning from the lack of oxygen and his body growing weaker from the cold, Mark felt like he was losing the battle. But in a moment of clarity, he managed to free himself and swim back to the surface, gasping for air as he broke through the water's surface. As he scrambled to the shore, shivering and disoriented, a new fear gripped him. Where was Kyla? Mark scanned the water, his eyes darting around desperately, but there was no sign of his beloved dog. No air bubbles, no ripples, nothing. His heart sank as he realized Kyla was still underwater. Trembling, he reached for his phone and called for help. His hands shook as he dialed, struggling to speak through his sobs. "Please help me," he begged. "My dog is in the lake and I can't find her." Within minutes, the park was swarming with people, friends, family, and even strangers who had heard about the emergency. They gathered around Mark, offering support and trying to comfort him, but there was no comfort for him until Kyla was safe. A plan was quickly formed. Some would search along the shore, while others spread out through the park. Meanwhile, Mark was determined to dive back into the lake. He had spent countless weekends exploring the lake's waters, and he hoped his knowledge would help him find Kyla. Mark's wife rushed to a nearby diving shop to gather equipment, driving as fast as she could, knowing that every second counted. Back at the lake, the crowd grew, with more people joining the search. Someone had the idea to spread the word on social media, posting pictures of Kyla and describing her last known location. The hope was that more people would join the search effort and help find the missing dog. As Mark prepared to dive, he steeled himself, knowing he had to act fast. The lake was calm, almost eerily so, and he felt a chill run down his spine as he submerged himself. The underwater world was dark and silent, a stark contrast to the chaos and noise above. As he descended, he could see just how vast and complex the lake's depths were. What he thought was a simple, shallow pond turned out to be a labyrinth of crevices and hidden pockets. Mark's flashlight illuminated the murky water, casting shadows that danced and shifted. His heart pounded as he searched every nook and cranny, hoping for some sign of Kyla. But as he swam deeper, he noticed something that made him stop in his tracks. Resting on the lake bed were several large rectangular structures. They were not natural. They looked like crates, and their presence made no sense. Mark's confusion turned to dread as he realized these crates could be hiding something sinister. Determined to find out what was going on, he swam closer. The crates were stacked neatly, almost as if someone had placed them there deliberately. Mark's mind raced with questions. What were they doing there? And could Kyla be trapped near or inside one of them? With renewed determination, he continued his search, hoping against hope that he would find her. Then he heard a faint, muffled sound. Mark shone his flashlight on one of the crates and saw movement inside. His heart leapt as he recognized Kyla, her eyes wide with fear, but alive. She had managed to find a small air pocket inside the crate, which had kept her from drowning. Mark felt a wave of relief wash over him as he carefully maneuvered to open the crate and free her. When he finally pulled Kyla out of the water and onto the shore, cheers erupted from the crowd. People rushed forward, surrounding them with hugs and tears, relieved that both Mark and Kyla had survived their harrowing ordeal. But even as they celebrated, a sense of unease lingered. Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Why were those crates there, and who had put them in the lake? As the crowd dispersed, whispers spread about the mysterious objects Mark had found underwater. People began to speculate, and the police were soon called to investigate. When officers arrived, they took Mark's account of what had happened and prepared to retrieve the crates from the lake. Mark guided them to the exact spot, describing everything he had seen. As divers worked to pull the crates out of the water, more questions arose. The crates were heavy, sealed shut, and their contents unknown. The police opened them cautiously, and what they found inside sent shockwaves through the community. Inside were weapons, neatly packed and ready for transport. The discovery turned the situation from a rescue mission into a criminal investigation. The police immediately called for backup, and detectives were assigned to the case. As they searched for clues, they realized the lake had been used as a drop-off point for an illegal smuggling operation. The crates contained firearms, some of which matched those used in recent unsolved crimes in the area. Mark had inadvertently stumbled upon a significant breakthrough in a case that had stumped the authorities for months. With the investigation underway, more details began to emerge. Locals shared their observations with the police, mentioning strange sightings around the lake late at night. Fishermen had noticed boats moving across the water under the cover of darkness, and joggers recalled seeing trucks parked near the shore at odd hours. These clues painted a picture of a clandestine operation that had been going on for quite some time. As the investigation deepened, detectives started piecing together the smuggling ring's network. They combed through old case files looking for connections and eventually identified a warehouse that seemed to be at the center of the operation. It was here that the weapons were likely being stored before they were moved to the lake for distribution. The police planned a raid on the warehouse, hoping to catch the culprits in the act. Mark and Kyla, who had played a key role in uncovering the operation, were asked to assist in the investigation. Mark's knowledge of the lake and his experience from that fateful day made him a valuable asset to the team. When the night of the raid came, tactical units surrounded the warehouse, their movements swift and silent. Inside, they found more crates similar to those Mark had discovered underwater. The warehouse was bustling with activity, and the suspects were caught off guard when the police stormed in. But the situation took a dangerous turn when the criminals, realizing they were trapped, grabbed Kyla, using her as leverage to negotiate their escape. Mark's heart stopped as he watched helplessly, but he knew he had to do something. In a daring move, he managed to distract the men just long enough for the officers to act. They subdued the suspects, freeing Kyla and securing the area. With the operation successfully dismantled, the police uncovered the full extent of the smuggling ring. The criminals had been using the lake as a hidden transit point, storing illegal goods in the crates and moving them at night to avoid detection. Thanks to Mark and Kyla, the authorities were able to put an end to the operation, making the community a safer place. News of their bravery spread quickly. and soon Mark and Kyla were hailed as local heroes. The town held a celebration in their honor, with speeches, awards, and heartfelt thanks from residents. The mayor praised their courage and quick thinking, acknowledging how their actions had led to the discovery and dismantling of a dangerous criminal network. For Mark, the ordeal had been terrifying, but it also brought him closer to Kyla, the dog who had been his companion through it all. As they sat by the lake, watching the ripples dance across the water, Mark reflected on everything that had happened. He never imagined that a simple walk with Kyla would lead to such an incredible turn of events. He was grateful for every moment of that day, the struggles, the fears, and most of all, the outcome. It was Kyla's instinct that had set everything in motion, and for that he would always be thankful. The lake, which had once been a peaceful place for afternoon strolls, had revealed a darker secret. But now, with the operation dismantled and the culprits behind bars, it could return to being the serene retreat it once was. For Mark and Kyla, it would always be a reminder of the day they took on danger and emerged victorious side by side.